Armando Baker here.
It's Luke May.
This is Tyler Hansbrough.
University of North Carolina.
Here's North Carolina.
I just want to shout out my boy JBear_YT.
JBear_YT.
It's Carolina family, baby.
Go Heels.
Go Heels.
What is up, boys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're doing the Week 6 College Basketball Top 25. Good week of college basketball. A lot of upsets, including the number 1 overall team in the nation. So let's get right into this top 25. We're going to start out with Indiana at number 25. Now this 25th spot was tough because they did have a loss in this past week with a loss to Wisconsin. But they only lost by 5, and it was down to them or Wake Forest to make that last spot. And Wake Forest, they don't have a single quality win, if we're being honest with ourselves. They just haven't played much of anything so far on their schedule. And the one team they did play at LSU, they lost to. So I gave a slight nod to Indiana, mainly because I think the Big Ten's a better conference overall, which it clearly is this year. But, you know, we will see how it works out. So I guess Wake Forest you can consider an honorable mention, and Indiana here at 25. Number 24, excuse me, we have the West Virginia Mountaineers. They got a big win this week. They beat a Yukon, who is ranked 15th in the AP poll at least. They only have 1 loss in the season. They're 9-1, and they're cruising. They're looking good. West Virginia looking really good this year. Number 23. Excuse me, goodness. We have Michigan State. Michigan State is a team that I thought this year could actually be better than a lot of people thought. Right now, they are chilling at 9-2 in as far as their record goes. They're number 19 in the AP poll at the moment, and I expect that to go up a little bit. They're 2-0 in conference play, and they've had some tough tests, which is why they have the 2 losses on their schedule. They lost to who was it? They lost to Kansas in the opener and Baylor. So those are 2 good teams right there. Those are 2 top 5 teams in the nation. So nothing wrong with losing to those 2. Those are 2 really great teams. Michigan State looking really good this year. Number 22, we have the Yukon Huskies. This team I wasn't as high on coming into the year, but they're 9-2 right now. Barely hanging on to their ranking after the West Virginia loss. But since that West Virginia team is so good, I had to leave them in. So they are chilling here, and also have a big win against Auburn as well. Number 21, we have the North Carolina Tar Heels. My favorite team right here. They obviously deserve to be ranked. Not in the AP poll at the moment, but they're having a good season, as rough as it may have started. They're currently at 7-2. Excuse me. They're currently at 7-2 with losses to Purdue and Tennessee. 2 good basketball teams, and lately they've just been on quite of a hot streak, if we're being honest. They didn't look fantastic in their most recent game against Elon, but I expect it to be a lot better throughout the season. This is one of the most talented teams in the country, and I think Hubert Davis has really improved as a coach as we've gone on through the season so far. I'm excited about what this Carolina team can do. And yes, the one of 2 ACC teams in this top 25. ACC is just having a rough year in basketball and football. It's really bad. Anyways, number 20, we have Seton Hall. Seton Hall coming out with a big win against Texas the other day. They only have 1 loss on the season, so they're looking good. Beat Rutgers, who just beat Purdue just today. So, yeah, man, I didn't expect much from Seton Hall, but they are really playing good basketball right now. Number 19, we have Ohio State. They beat previously number one ranked Duke a couple weeks back. They are currently with 2 losses on their schedule. They got a tough test against Kentucky coming up pretty soon. They beat Wisconsin pretty handily, so Ohio State looking pretty good right now. Number 18, we have the 9-0 LSU Tigers out of the SEC. LSU, they look pretty good. They beat a pretty good Wake Forest team a couple weeks back. They beat not too much else, to be honest with you. They beat an okay Georgia Tech team, I guess. But yeah, LSU, they're undefeated, but they haven't played the greatest competition so far, so that's why they're undefeated here at 18. Number 17, I have Arkansas. Now, I've been saying for a while, Arkansas next year could be one of the best teams in the country. This year, I think they're on a stepping stone to that point. They got beat pretty badly by Oklahoma the other day, so they fell a little bit in the rankings. But since a lot of other teams lost as well, they didn't fall as far as maybe they should have, or maybe as far as I think they deserve to. But right now they are at 17 in the rankings. Number 16, we had the Tennessee Volunteers. They played a really sloppy game against Texas Tech the other day. And Texas Tech, don't get me wrong, is a good defensive team, but man, it was kind of an ugly game. They did have a good bounce back against UNCG, beating them by like 40 or whatever. But yeah, Tennessee, they got a really good win against UNC that they're holding on to right now. So yeah, Tennessee looking pretty good at the SEC as well. Number 15 is Villanova. Man, it really hurts me to put Villanova here. I mean, well, I'm not a fan of Villanova or anything, but man, they have had a schedule. Baylor, Purdue, Tennessee, UCLA. Villanova's had a tough one. But they're going into conference play. Obviously, they'll play a little bit better in conference play. But they're at 3 losses, and they're still here at 15. They lost to the top level competition. So they're kind of just in that 10 to 15 range right now. I think that's where they'll end up at the end of the season. I think this team is just too small. They don't have the size to compete with, any dominant center should honestly go off against Villanova every single night. They need to start recruiting some larger players for the future, because it's really kind of rough looking right now as far as that goes. Even though obviously all their losses are good losses. Well, not good losses, but you know what I mean. Number 14 is the Iowa State Cyclones. Man, did I not expect this from Iowa State. They're currently sitting at 10-0, already playing 10 games, won all 10 of them. Again, not the greatest of schedules, but they have a win against a pretty good Memphis team who is playing fairly good basketball right now. So 10-0, that gets you here at 14 in the rankings. Number 13, we have Houston. And Houston, did they get cheated against Alabama? I don't know. It's hard for me to say that they did, but either way, no matter how you look at it, Houston is a good basketball team. They really gave Alabama their absolute best shot, a team who recently just beat Gonzaga. So yeah, Houston is looking really good this season. Wait, did I skip 2? Oh, never mind. Number 12, we have Kentucky, who just got upset by Notre Dame. And this is not a great Notre Dame basketball team. This is an ACC level basketball team, which is not a good thing this year. So the Kentucky lost that game. It was on the road, but it was kind of a rough performance there. So they do fall a little bit in the rankings, but it's still a good team. I think the team still has the Sweet 16 possibilities. But right now they're here number 12 in the rankings. Number 11, we have the Texas Longhorns, who did just lose to Seton Hall. But Seton Hall's a good team. That's not a terrible loss at all right there. So they have the Gonzaga loss and the Seton Hall loss so far. They haven't beat a quality team, which is pretty concerning. They honestly haven't even looked very good against a competent team so far. So Texas, I'm not sure if, obviously I don't have them in the top 10, but I'm not sure if they are a top 10 team. As good as their roster is, we'll see once they get into conference play and are playing good teams regularly. But right now, Texas hasn't beat a good team, so we'll see how this plays out with them. Number 10, we have USC. Man, USC is building a program over there in LA. They're 10-0 on the season. Again, not the greatest competition in the world, but it's more than some teams have. Utah's okay. Washington State also, they got a win there. But USC, they're undefeated. They're looking pretty good in all their games. So we'll see how it plays out for them as well. Number 9, we have Arizona. Do I think Arizona is a top 10 team in the country? No, I don't. But they are 9-0, so I got to give them the props that they deserve at the moment. They beat a pretty good Illinois team, which really gave me the like the no doubt ability to put them in the top 10. So I do feel like they deserve that. Obviously, they beat a Michigan team who is not looking good right now, but that's also a fairly good win right there. So yeah, I mean, they don't have the most talent in the world compared to a lot of these other top 10 teams, but right now they're at 9-0 and looking good. Number 8, we have the Auburn Tigers. Jabari Smith of the Auburn Tigers, that is a basketball player right there. Auburn currently on a 5-game winning streak. Coach did just get suspended, and there's been a lot of bad news surrounding that program lately. But right now they are a top 10 team in the nation in my eyes. I think pretty clearly. They got some good wins against, I think, a Syracuse team that is capable of beating like any team in the country, but also can lose to anybody. They look dominant against the rest of their schedule except for Connecticut. They gave Connecticut a really good shot in that game. So yeah, Auburn's going to be here number 8. And let's not forget the former Tar Heel, Walker Kessler. Number 7, we have Gonzaga. They are at 2 losses as well, but both those losses are to 2 really good teams in Alabama and Duke. They got another pretty tough one against Texas Tech coming up before they go strictly into conference play, where they won't have much to deal with, maybe outside of BYU for the rest of the season. But yeah, talented roster. Haven't put it all together yet, but obviously this is one of the best teams in the country. Number 6, we have Alabama, who, man, being an Alabama fan, it just must be nice. I don't have much to complain about. I'm a Carolina fan, but goodness, being an Alabama fan. I mean, they're 8-1 in basketball. They're number 1 seed in the college football playoff in football. It's just a solid squad. J.D. Davidson's been really good for this team. They can shoot the 3 ball with the best of them. When they're on, they can beat anybody in the country on any given day. But also, when they're cold from 3-point range, they also do have the capability to lose to some teams that they shouldn't be losing to. But that's just kind of how it goes when you play that kind of system. But obviously, Alabama is one of the best teams in the country. Number 5, we have Duke. Duke has not played in almost 2 weeks. By the time they play their next game on Tuesday, I believe it is, they will have not played for a full 2 weeks. And that last game being that Ohio State loss. So, man, Duke has had to sit on this loss for a long, long time. Like an abnormally long amount of time. I'm not sure how it's going to affect them. Obviously, I mean, they're not playing much competition in the next couple of games. But we'll see how they perform after this 2-week break they've kind of had. But right now, they have a good team that are here at 5. Number 4, we have Purdue. Purdue did just lose to Rutgers. It was not a great game for them in that one. And also today, NC State gave them a real challenge. Took them to overtime, where Purdue kind of pulled away in overtime. But Purdue, man, I mean, it's a really, really good team. The last 2 games haven't been great, but obviously this is a top 5 team in the nation. Number 4, we have Kansas. I picked them to win the national championship in my preseason thing. And it's looking pretty possible. Kansas is really good. I mean, really good. Ever since that unfortunate loss to Dayton, they've been pretty dominant in almost all of their games. They beat Missouri by almost 40 or something like that. They don't have that I don't know. Well, actually, wait. Did they beat? Yeah, they beat Michigan State, so they do have a quality win. But yeah, so Kansas, yeah, very deserving of this top 3 spot right here. Number 2, we have the UCLA Bruins, the number 2 team in the nation for this week's rankings. They play Carolina coming up. That'll be a tough one. UCLA, they did have that loss to Gonzaga, but they do have a big win against Villanova as well. So they've played some tough competition. They got a lot of talent on that roster, and we'll see what the Tar Heels can do. So that'll be interesting. And of course, the number 1 team in the nation is the Baylor Bears. They're reigning national champions. 9-0 for Baylor. I did not expect this with all the guys they lost. I mean, sure, they did. The first tough game they really played was against Villanova the other day. Actually, no, they beat Michigan State as well. Goodness. Michigan State has had a tough schedule. But anyway, yeah, Baylor's just good. Baylor is just good. Their defense is smotheringly good. I mean, by the most points they've given up this year, 63. Villanova scored 36 against them. I mean, goodness, this defense is smothering, and they have the capability of scoring a lot of points as well. as they scored 99 in the game before that. So, yeah, Baylor's really good, and they deserve that #1 spot in the country right now. So, guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below about these rankings. Please like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, do all that YouTube stuff, and I will see you guys in the next one.